The Forsaken Heir. Previous episodes are available on the playlist. You can also visit our website for your favorite stories. A link is provided in the video description. Episode 63. The next day. Sarah's plane took off at 8:30 in the morning. The semi-finals of the Sanda competition start at 10 o'clock. Therefore, Charlie planned to send Sarah off first, and then go to the gym to watch Aoxu's game. Early in the morning, he went to Jacob, his father-in-law, and said to him, "Dad, do you use the car in the morning? If you don't need it, let me drive. I have something to do." Jacob smiled and said, "I will represent our Calligraphy and Painting Association in the morning to give a lecture on the appraisal of antique literature and play at the University for the Elderly." After that, Jacob gave Charlie a look, which means "Do you understand?" Charlie realized instantly. It must have been the last time the Senior Citizens University and the Calligraphy and Painting Association had an activity. The old master met with Miking. It happened that his mother-in-law did not suspect him, so the old master wanted to take this opportunity to increase contact with Miking. This time he went to the senior college for a lecture. Needless to say, Charlie could guess that he must have gone to Miking. At this moment, Elaine just walked downstairs, and when she heard this, she contemptuously curled her lips. "What kind of calligraphy and painting are you doing all day long?" Jacob said angrily, "You know what a shit. I am now the standing director of the Painting and Calligraphy Association, but President Pei said that the next time the association changes, he will recommend me to be the vice president. At that time, I will be in Oris Hill Antiques lead. In the literary play circle, this is also the #1 character." Elaine snorted coldly, "Don't rectify those useless things. It's a good idea to get some money back. Before you join the Calligraphy and Painting Association, you can still make a difference in the price of antiques and other things. How come after you join the Calligraphy and Painting Association, I never heard that you made money from antiques? Do you hide private money behind my back?" Jacob said angrily, "Elaine, don't forget, we are separated now, and after you lost all the money last time, we have agreed that I will manage the money in this family, so you have the qualification to ask." Elaine gritted her teeth and said, "Okay, Wilson has some skills? You really think that you are separated from me, so I can't do anything with you? Believe it or not, I will not do anything today, so I will go to your painting and calligraphy. The association, have a fight with you in front of all of you people? I want to see what face you have then to continue to stay in the Calligraphy and Painting Association." With that said, Elaine was puzzled and continued, "Going once is not enough. I will give you a monthly package. I will go to your Calligraphy and Painting Association 20 or 30 times a month, and you will be satisfied." Jacob was scared to pee at once. He knew Elaine's temper. If she said that, she would definitely be able to do it. Now that he finally has a certain position in the Calligraphy and Painting Association, and through the name of the Calligraphy and Calligraphy Association, he has had a little more contact with Miking. How can Elaine go to do such sabotage? She was a shrew with a pungent temperament, and now she has lost 2 front teeth. It seems that she is really stubborn. He can't let her go to the Calligraphy and Painting Association to give him a beating. More importantly, if she is eyeing the Calligraphy and Painting Association, and then follow through to find out that my king has returned to China and he has more contact with her, then she will definitely make trouble with the Calligraphy and Calligraphy Association and the University for the Elderly. So he rushed to admit counsel and said to Elaine, "You don't have to solve everything through the trouble, okay?" Elaine said coldly, "You have said that this family is yours. I am not qualified to control, then I will not make trouble. What will I use to establish my position in this family?" Jacob voluntarily surrendered and said, "I said the wrong thing. You are qualified to take charge. Is this the head office?" Elaine said triumphantly, "Since you said that I am qualified, then I will exercise my qualifications and powers now. Jacob, tell me the truth, how much money do you have now? Can you tell me that dump antique made money?" Jacob said with a sad look, "I'm making money for a bullshit. Let me tell you the truth, I don't have any money for a bullshit now, and the Calligraphy and Painting Association can't make any money at all. I used to sell antiques and still make some money. But now I don't have such a good opportunity. I recently bought a few cheap calligraphy and paintings, all of which were sold. One painting was bought for thousands, but I found that all of them were not worth even hundreds. All fake crafts." As he said, Jacob sighed and said regretfully, "That Irvin Jones, I don't know where he is recently. He used to find and help me sell things at a good price. Now I want to find him, but he is nowhere. It's as if his soul from the world has evaporated." Charlie felt a bit funny after listening. In order to please him, that Irvin Jones paid a lot of money to collect a few pieces of rubbish from the old master. The money was pure compensation. If we keep going like this, we won't have billions of fortunes. So he naturally tried to avoid the old master. Jacob wants to find him now, it must be as difficult as finding heaven on earth. Elaine didn't believe him, and said coldly, "Come on, open all your mobile banking, Alipay and WeChat wallets, and let me see the balance." Jacob said angrily, "Why are you still checking my account? When you lost all of the family's money, I asked you to show me the balance, but you didn't show me. Why do you let me now show you the balance?" Elaine said angrily, "Okay, don't show it, right? Don't show it, I'll take a crutches later, and come to your Painting and Calligraphy Association to scold you in the street. I, Elaine, will do what I said." Jacob was scared, and hurriedly said, "Okay, I'll show it to you." After finishing speaking, he opened the bank account, Alipay account and WeChat wallet account one by one, and showed it to Elaine. After Elaine finished reading, she was immediately disappointed. "Jacob, how did you mess with? Bank cards Alipay and WeChat add up to only 10,000. You are a 50-year-old man who is so poor. So, are you not ashamed?" Jacob's face turned red and white, and he said angrily, "You have a face to say? All the money I saved all my life and let you lose. Otherwise, how could I be so poor?" Elaine's expression flashed with embarrassment, but she quickly became tough again. "It's your man's duty to go out to make money. Since the family's money is gone, you should go out and find a way to make money. Just this is a shit calligraphy and painting association all day long. Would you like an egg? Why don't you find a restaurant and serve someone else's plate, and you can earn 2,000 to 3,000 for less than a month?" Jacob said angrily, "Elaine, I am the standing director of the Oris Hill Painting and Calligraphy Association anyway. You asked me to serve the plate by a standing director? What kind of shit standing director? Not making money is not as good as shit. Elaine yelled angrily, I tell you, when my legs are better and my teeth are set, I will go out to party with friends, play cards, make faces, eat, and sing. I have to spend money on these things. You quickly figure out a way to make money for me. Otherwise, I won't have the money to go out and play, so I will pester you every day. You. Jacob's eyes were red with anger. He has absolutely no countermeasures against Elaine's tactics. Therefore, there is a great feeling in his heart that a talented person meets soldiers and is unreasonable. Charlie said at this time, Okay, you two should stop quarreling early in the morning. When Elaine saw Charlie speak, she wilted. If Charlie dared to interrupt when she scolded Jacob before, he would definitely point to Charlie's nose and scold him bloody. But now it's not what it used to be. Destiny has taken turns. Now she has no money. Charlie bought this villa again, so he has the biggest weight in this house. In order not to be driven out by Charlie, she could only do her best to please him and not let Charlie get angry. As a result, she gave Jacob a vicious look, and said angrily, If it weren't for a good son-in-law to speak for you, I would definitely not finish with you today. For the sake of him, I will spare you once. With that, she looked at Charlie grinningly and asked, Good son-in-law, do you want Mom to cook you a meal this morning? Charlie asked in surprise, You can cook? Elaine hurriedly said, Look at what you said, before you entered our house, I used to cook in our house, so let me bring you a tomato that I know best for making noodles. I'll go to our house later. Pick fresh tomatoes from your vegetable garden. Since the last time Charlie made a vegetable garden at home, they also made the entire vegetable garden into a sunroom with double-glazed glass. And heating equipment is installed inside, so that even if it is winter, the vegetable garden is still warm as spring. This effect is much better than real vegetable greenhouses. Many fruits and vegetables are growing very well. Charlie and Claire have been married for almost 4 years, and he has never eaten a meal cooked by his mother-in-law. Seeing his mother-in-law volunteered to make tomatoes and noodles, he was also happy and nodded and said, Since Mom is cooking, then I won't intervene, but I have something to go out now. If it is slow, it may be too late. Elaine smiled, You don't need to worry about anything, Mom will do it, and it will be done in 20 minutes at most. After speaking, immediately went out and picked tomatoes in the vegetable garden. After picking the tomatoes, Elaine hurried into the kitchen and started cooking. When Claire finished washing, she came down to find that it was her mother who was cooking in the kitchen. For several years, she has never seen her mother go to the kitchen again, and this is really the first time since she married Charlie. So she asked Charlie in a low voice, What's wrong with Mom? How did she go to the kitchen to cook? Charlie smiled and said, Mom said she wanted me to taste her craftsmanship, saying that she wanted to make tomato noodles. Claire sighed, My mother, she took the initiative to cook. This is really coming out of the sun hitting the west. It seems that she has lost her way and has come back. What Charlie was thinking at this time was not the 4 words to know when she was lost, but the old saying of nothing to do, no evil or steal. So he guessed that Elaine, the mother-in-law, must be asking him, otherwise, with her character, she would never be able to take the initiative to cook. Sure enough, when he arrived at the dinner table, Elaine personally served Charlie noodles, and smiled and said to him, "Good son-in-law, there is something else I want to ask you, I wonder if you can agree?" Charlie said, "Mom, just tell me if you have anything. There is something reasonable within my ability, I will not refuse." Elaine immediately smiled attentively, "My good son-in-law is like this. Mom recently discovered. The whole person seems to be a lot older than before. Not to mention the wrinkles on my face, the crow's feet in the corners of the eyes are becoming more and more obvious. Time is really not forgiving." After speaking, she looked at Charlie with a smile. "Mom recently heard that there is an anti-aging cosmetic made from high-end caviar abroad. It is said that its anti-aging effect is particularly good, and many well-known stars use it. To prevent aging, Mom wants you to buy a set." When Claire heard this, she blurted out exclaimed, "Mom! The set of cosmetics you mentioned costs hundreds of thousands. What are the conditions of our family, you let Charlie buy you such expensive cosmetics? I gave you before. Isn't it enough to buy a set of Estée Lauder for thousands?" Elaine blurted out, "Don't talk about your Estée Lauder, I suspect that my wrinkles are worse after it." Claire became angry, "Mom! Estée Lauder is already pretty good. I can't bear to use it myself. Go to our bathroom to see what I use. They are all domestic brands and ordinary imported brands, like Estée Lauder. I am not willing to use such a big name at all." Elaine hummed, "You are young. Young people are fine even if they don't need anything, but I'm old. If I don't take care of it, I will become a yellow-faced woman. Look at your dad, now I'm already disgusting. I am separated from him, and he keeps saying that he wants to divorce me. If I don't pay attention anymore, if your dad abandons me in the future, how can any man want me?" Claire was speechless. She was angry and felt that there was nothing to say to her mother, and she couldn't reason with her, so she said to Charlie, "Don't listen to mother, don't buy it for her." Elaine burst into tears aggrieved, "Your dad treated me badly, your grandmother treated me even more badly, but I never dreamed that you are my relatives, even you are not good to me." Claire blurted out, "Mom, how can you say that? It would be bad for me if I don't buy you more than 100,000 sets of cosmetics? How can there be such a reason?" Elaine cried, "I don't care. I just want to be younger and don't grow old so fast. I'm already so miserable. I really can't look at myself more and more like a yellow-faced woman." Charlie patted Claire's hand at this time, and said lightly, "Well, my wife, don't be angry. Mom's words are also reasonable. Everyone has a love for beauty, and Mom definitely has this need." Elaine nodded and patted a flattering, "My son-in-law is the best. He knows me best." Charlie went on to say at this time, "I happen to have a friend who is in the cosmetics import business. I will ask him when I meet him. It just so happens that he still wants to find me to show him the new storefront for Feng Shui. Then I will let him get 2 sets of cosmetics to cover the cost of Feng Shui." When Elaine heard this, she said excitedly, "Really? Oh my good son-in-law, you are really Mom's good son-in-law. Mom really didn't expect that after experiencing the warmth and cold in the world, I finally realized that this son-in-law is the best son-in-law. You're worth relying on. Other mothers-in-law, elder brothers-in-law, husbands, and even daughters will lose their chains at critical times. In fact, Elaine didn't want to be Charlie's dog licking him. But her current situation is too embarrassing. Without the financial power of the family, she is almost impoverished and penniless, and this luxurious Thompson first-class villa was still under the name of Charlie and had nothing to do with her. More importantly, since losing more than 2 million in the game with Horia last time, Elaine also knows that her current family status is relatively low, and even Jacob, who has always been suppressed by her, also turned his face and beat her. In this case, she really doesn't have any arrogant capital. So Elaine knew that now she could only be a human being with her tail clipped, and she has to please Charlie a lot, otherwise, if Charlie turned his face with her that day and drove her out, it would be over. Besides, Charlie was still willing to ask her about expensive cosmetics, so she immediately complimented him. Claire didn't expect that Charlie would take the initiative to ask her mother about cosmetics. She felt helpless, so she asked Charlie, "My husband, why haven't I heard that you have friends in the cosmetics business?" Charlie smiled and said, "Since I started to show feng shui to others, my social circle has become wider and wider. How else could I know Liang, the boss of JX Pharmaceutical? If it wasn't because I knew Liang, you two have no chance to eat with a big star like Sarah, right?" Claire nodded lightly, and sighed, "Hey, if you don't owe someone to your family, it's better not to owe it. There are hundreds of thousands of caviar anti-aging cosmetics, which is really too much for a family like us. It's extravagant, no need." Elaine was anxious and said hurriedly, "Oh girl! Who said it is unnecessary? My son-in-law Charlie didn't say that it was unnecessary. Don't talk nonsense here." After finishing speaking, she looked at Charlie too busy, and said with a smile, "Charlie, Mom's old face depends on you. Otherwise, if your dad always abandons in the future and really wants to divorce, when the time comes, then I will be yellow, and the happiness of this life will be gone." Charlie said to Claire at this time, "Claire, don't care about the price too much. After all, I can convert the price into a service by looking at the feng shui matter, without us actually spending money. That's it." Elaine immediately said with a smile, "My son-in-law has the ability. If your mother can live in the Thompson first grade, it is all thanks to your blessing. I think mother can live here. It's all up to you." After finishing speaking, she still didn't forget to sigh with emotion. People said that a son-in-law is half a son. I didn't believe it before, but now I really believe it. Claire was stunned as she watched from the side. She never dreamed that the mother, who had always been so harsh on Charlie, would actually hold him into a flower. So she had to say to Charlie, "Then you can grasp it yourself, don't know what to say." Charlie smiled and said, "Then I will go find him today." Charlie actually has no friends who make cosmetics. He had already made up his mind when he said that. When he finished his business today, he would buy 2 sets of cosmetics like Elaine said, one set for his mother-in-law and the other set naturally for his wife. The reason for giving Elaine this was because Elaine's current attitude made him feel refreshed. What do men want? Except for the beloved woman, isn't it about status and face? Charlie is also the master respected by everyone in Oris Hill's upper class, but he has always been instructed by Elaine at home. Seeing the face of his wife Claire, Charlie could only endure her forever, but it's better now. Elaine finally bowed down to him. Anyway, what he has now is money. If Elaine treats him respectfully and stubbornly every day, she will not care about giving her a small profit. Really? When Elaine heard this, she said with great gratitude, "Good son-in-law. You are really the best son-in-law in the world. It is a blessing for Mom to get a son-in-law like you." The old master on the side sighed again and again. He knew that his son-in-law Charlie has some skills. Since he said he would get cosmetics for Elaine, he would definitely get it. However, when he thought that Elaine was about to use more than 100,000 sets of cosmetics, he felt a little uncomfortable. At this time, Charlie just said to him, "By the way, Dad, do you use the car today? I have something to do. If you don't use the car, can you lend me for today?" Charlie had to go to the airport to see Sarah right away, and then hurry to Oris Hill Stadium. It was indeed a bit inconvenient if there was no car. Jacob hurriedly said, "In this way, you can drive me to the university later. There will be a working meal there at noon, so I won't come back to eat at noon. I will take a taxi and come back by myself after I finish the work in the afternoon." Charlie nodded and said, "Then let's eat quickly, and let's set off when we finish eating." Jacob, good. Elaine's cooking skills are average. However, tomato noodles do not require much technical input. So he can barely eat this meal. Charlie and Jacob finished their meal and drove away in a hurry. Charlie just drove Jacob's BMW car out of the house, and Jacob said with emotion, "Oh, Charlie, you are so stupid. Why do you promise Elaine that stinky lady to give her such expensive skincare? I don't even look at her, just her compelling fooled you?" Charlie smiled and said, "Dad, it's only a few 100,000. It's not a big deal. Besides, don't I have friends? It's easy to get cosmetics." Jacob couldn't help but sighed, "Oh, what a pity, what a pity." Charlie smiled without saying a word. In the eyes of the old man, it would be a pity for Elaine to use a pack of baby noodles for one. However, to himself, what's the problem with this little money? Don't say you spend money, just call Isak, Solomon White and Sheen Gang and ask them to help buy 10 or 20 sets. What's the point? The point is that with a little bit of petty profit, he can make the mother-in-law submissive. This business is simply not too costly. Jacob on the side vaguely asked, "Hey, by the way, Charlie, Dad, can you, please?" Charlie nodded, "Dad, tell me, what are you doing so politely with me?" Jacob smiled, rubbed his hands, and said, "If you have a way to get this kind of cosmetics, can you get me one more set?" Charlie asked subconsciously, "Dad, are you still going to take care of it?" But it doesn't seem to be necessary. It's more flavorful when a man is older. Jacob smiled embarrassedly, "Dad doesn't hide from you, I want to ask you for a set, not for my own use. I want to find a chance to give you Aunt, you know, Dad has no money now, you Auntie has been back for so long, and Dad hasn't given her a gift yet." How embarrassed! Then he said, "I wondered, since you have a way to get this kind of cosmetics, then help Dad get one more set. Dad will take it to give you, and is it a little bit of face? As a man, Charlie understands Jacob's thoughts very well. In fact, which man does not want to make his beloved woman happy? It's just that some people really can't reach it, and they can't do anything. Just like Charlie before, not only he was penniless, but also had no longs. Sometimes when Claire celebrated his birthday, or when the two of them celebrate their wedding anniversary, Charlie also hoped to give his wife a gift. But because there was no money, he could only think about it. The first valuable gift he gave to his wife was the jade necklace he bought for her at Rare Earth after Stephen found him. Before that, even if Charlie wanted to give his wife the whole world, with his ability at the time, he couldn't even give away a set of cosmetics from the past. Regardless of how old Jacob is, but at this moment, he is still in love with Miking, who has been away for more than 20 years, so he naturally hopes to give her some decent gifts. Charlie understood this very well. So he said very generously, "Okay, Dad, then I'll make an extra set and bring it to you then." Great! Jacob was so excited that he couldn't add anything, and said excitedly, "Good son-in-law, you really did a great favor to Dad." As he said, he was too busy to ask him, "By the way, you must not let your mother-in-law that shrew know about this matter, otherwise, Dad will be over, do you know?" Charlie nodded, "Don't worry, Dad, I know in my heart that I will leave a set in the trunk of your car when you come, and you can take it with you when you meet Aunt next time." "Okay, great," my good son-in-law thought it all. Charlie drove the happy old master to the gate of the university for the elderly. After Jacob got out of the car, Charlie drove straight to the airport to see Sarah off. Sarah's private jet is parked in the business hangar of the airport. There are no other passengers, no reporters or paparazzi here, so it can give her the greatest freedom and privacy. Charlie was here too, and saw Sarah, who was dressed in a capable little suit. At this time, Sarah seemed to be a standard strong woman. Seeing Charlie coming, she couldn't help showing the shame and happiness of the little woman. Since meeting Charlie, her mind has not been able to get rid of Charlie's figure. Although the memories that she can think of in her mind and that she shared with Charlie stayed at a young age, because she has repeatedly deepened the impression in her mind for so many years, the memory of more than 10 years ago, on the contrary, lingered in her mind. The power of psychological suggestion is very powerful, and that who likes Pua girls like Wu Chi uses the powerful influence of psychological suggestion. Long-term psychological hints can make a person lose himself. Ordinary girls, in front of the master of psychological suggestions, are afraid that they will fall within a few months. As for Sarah, she has been making psychological hints to herself for more than 10 years, and this influence has become even more profound. It can be said that it has reached a point where it is deeply rooted and thoroughly established. Therefore, after she met Charlie again, she immediately began to take on the role of his fiancée. When she slept last night, she even began to imagine that the two would return to East Cliff for a wedding in the future. Seeing Charlie at this time, the girl's heart in her bone cage suddenly burst, and she ran all the way to Charlie, grabbed his arm, and said quietly, "Charlie, I am going back to East Cliff today. Are you willing to leave me?" Charlie smiled and said, "You have to go home, and you have to go back to participate in the rehearsal of the gala. People across the country are waiting to see your performance." Sarah mumbled dissatisfiedly, "Answer the question." "What people want to ask is, you are not willing to go back." Charlie wanted to say that he was willing, but felt that after speaking out, Sarah would definitely be anxious. However, he couldn't say that he was reluctant, because he actually wanted Sarah to go back quickly, otherwise she would only bring trouble to him if she continued to stay in Oris Hill. If Claire knew what happened to him and her, he wouldn't know how angry she would be. "So," he said vaguely, "oh, anyway, you go back to your work, and I will visit your house in a few days, soon." "Okay, then." Sarah pouted, nodded lightly, and said, "I will not tell my father when I go back. I will give him a surprise when you get there." Charlie said, "Okay, then don't tell Uncle Gu now." The crew was already checking before takeoff. August also took Sarah's personal luggage and boarded the private jet first. Sarah stood outside the cabin door, faintly looking at the tall and handsome Charlie in front of her, and said, "Charlie, after I leave, you have to remember to miss me, do you know?" Charlie nodded, I know, don't worry, I will definitely miss you." Sarah said again, "You must have a string in your mind at all times, and keep reminding yourself that I am your true fiancé, and the other women outside are all hurried travelers in your life. In this life for my dad, I am a daughter, and you have an uncle. You can't let him down." Charlie's head was big for a while, but he could only say, "Oh, that, I know, oh, it's getting late, you should get on the plane." Sarah gave a hum, and reluctantly said, "Then I'm leaving. Goodbye, good luck." Sarah pursed her lips and looked at him, and immediately gathered courage, kissed him on the cheek, blushing, and said, "This is a reward for you in advance." Charlie asked in surprise, "What are you rewarding me in advance?" Sarah said, "Reward you in advance, remember to miss me." After speaking, she blushed and turned back to private jet. At the moment the cabin door closed, she was still standing at the door and waving to him. The aircraft engine started and slowly pushed out from the hangar. Charlie breathed a sigh of relief. He hurried back to the parking lot and drove straight to the city center. When he drove out, he immediately called Isaac, and he came up and said, "Old man, can you help me see if there is a high-end skincare brand, and what kind of caviar is this anti-aging?" Isaac said, "There is indeed such a brand, and we sell it in Shangri-La. The world's top high-end skincare brand is much stronger than the Sea Blue Mystery." Charlie asked wonderingly, "Does Shangri-La still sell skincare products?" Isaac smiled and said, "Master, you have never lived in Shangri-La. You may not have any understanding of the hotel's rooms. There is a large high-end shopping mall in Shangri-La's hotel room department. What are the top brands such as Hermes, Chanel, and Dior? The specialty stores have everything, which is also a popular way of playing in top hotels in the world. Accommodation, dining, leisure and entertainment, plus shopping, strive to provide high-end customers with a one-stop holiday, and even save the energy of going out shopping." Charlie suddenly realized, "That's right, you can help me buy 3 sets of caviar anti-aging cosmetics, and get someone bring me those to Oris Hill Stadium." When Isaac hurried to buy cosmetics for Charlie, Charlie had already arrived at the Oris Hill Gymnasium. Today, the game has reached the semi-finals. In the last game, Aoxu's performance in beating Joanna with a single move caused great attention on the internet, and immediately pushed the attention of this game to a peak. Therefore, today's semi-finals attracted the attention of audiences from all over the country, so much so that outside the Oris Hill Stadium, a large number of spectators bought tickets at high prices just to witness Aoxu's advancement to the final. Inside and outside the venue, Kobayashi's Vison advertisements have been launched with great fanfare. Because they are the title dealer, their advertising elements are everywhere. Just use the camera to take a picture. There must be Kobayashi's Vison advertisements on this screen. Moreover, the TV station that broadcasts the game also always displays the logo of Kobayashi Vison on the lower right corner of the TV screen. What's even more powerful is that many network anchors are on the scene, using their mobile phones to broadcast live to netizens on the live broadcast platform. This process is also expanding the influence of Kobayashi Vison. It can be said that Kobayashi's Vison won enough eyeballs at once. Jiro was overjoyed for this. At first, he only thought that this game would not attract too many people's attention, but fortunately, the naming rights were sold cheaply, but he did not expect that Aoxu would make the game completely popular, and he really made a lot of money. After Charlie arrived at the gymnasium, he went to the players' lounge at the back. As soon as he entered the room, Aoxu was jumping on the spot to warm up, and Qin Gang and Steven were also there. Seeing Charlie coming in, Aoxu hurried forward and said affectionately, "Master, you are here." Charlie nodded, smiled, and asked, "Aoxu, how do you feel today?" Aoxu hurriedly said, "Master, I feel in a particularly good state. Don't worry, I will definitely win this game." Charlie sighed and laughed, "I think with your current strength, no one in this competition can be compared to you, so you have to worry about how to make the game more beautiful." Aoxu couldn't hide the shame and asked, "Master, oh no, Coach Wade, how do you say I should play this game to make it more beautiful?" Charlie said calmly, "It's very simple, just like last time, we still have to win with one move." In Charlie's view, the perfect way to win a contest between warriors is to win with one move. The 300 rounds of the war, of course, are hardy. However, the fact that it usually takes so long to win the battle shows that the actual gap between the two sides is not large, and it can even be said to be equal. Aoxu's current strength is far beyond those of these contestants. It's just that she herself is somewhat lacking in tactics. If she accumulates more experience, her actual combat ability can be improved. Aoxu felt a little unsure, but seeing Charlie believe in her so much, she nodded and resolutely said, "Coach, rest assured, I will go all out." At this moment, in another lounge, Nanako was wrapped in a blanket with her eyes closed. Both Tanaka Koichi and Jiro were standing by. Tanaka also had a mobile phone in his hand. The mobile phone was streaming video with Yamamoto Kazuki, who was lying on the hospital bed. But Kazuki Yamamoto on the other end of the phone didn't make a sound. He just looked at his student quietly through Tanaka's lens. Yamamoto Kazuki was worried that Nanako's mentality would collapse. After all, the appearance of Charlie subverted the cognition of the master and apprentice, and brought a heavy blow to their enthusiasm. However, Yamamoto Kazuki still hopes Nanako can play well. Even if she couldn't win the championship this time, with her strength, it would be fine to win a runner-up. However, if she does not perform well, the runner-up may not be able to get it. Fortunately, he found through the video that Nanako is nothing different from usual. Nanako herself is not the kind of player who is particularly excited, so she is usually very quiet before the competition and likes to close her eyes and rest like she is now. Seeing that the time was almost up, Tanaka Hiroichi spoke, "Miss, you will enter the venue in 5 minutes." Nanako opened her eyes and nodded gently, "I see." Koichi Tanaka said again, "Miss, I'm talking on video with Coach Yamamoto. Do you have anything else to ask him?" With that, he immediately switched the camera and pointed the phone screen at Nanako. At this time, Nanako saw the weak Yamamoto Kazuki on the hospital bed and said respectfully, "Master, how are you feeling now?" Yamamoto Kazuki laughed at himself, "My biggest problem is that I don't feel it now." Nanako hurriedly apologized and said, "I'm sorry, Master, I didn't mean it." Yamamoto Kazuki smiled slightly and said, "It's okay, I have already accepted my fate." As he said, he raised his voice a little bit, and said bluntly, "Nanako, today's game is very important to you. Whether you can get the silver medal or not depends on whether you can win this game. Being a teacher is not a blow to you, but you are probably not Aoxu's opponent, but as long as you agree to this game, the silver medal will already be in your pocket. The rule of the top 4 matches is to fight in pairs, the 2 who win compete for the championship, and the 2 who lose compete for 3rd place. In other words, as long as Nanako wins today, she will at least have the silver medal for the runner-up." When Nanako heard this, she nodded seriously, and said, "Master, I know that I am not Aoxu's opponent, but I will definitely work hard to finish every remaining game, and will never bring shame." Yamamoto Kazuki said with satisfaction, "Very well, if this game is won, and in the next game you will face Aoxu. At that time, you will not only go all out, but also let Charlie look at you with admiration, and then take advantage of Aoxu's match. If you have a chance, you will ask Charlie to accept you as a disciple." Nanako smiled bitterly, "Master, Charlie cannot accept me as a disciple." Yamamoto Kazuki said puzzledly, "In my opinion, a talented apprentice like you will never be refused. Charlie must be the same. Why would he refuse you?" Nanako shook her head and said, "Just because I am Japanese." "What?" Yamamoto Kazuki frowned and asked, "Charlie looks down on us?" Nanako said, "It's not that he looks down on us, but he said that the Chinese have taught too many Japanese, but the Japanese have been avenging revenge for 200 or 300 years, so." When Yamamoto Kazuki heard this, he couldn't help but sighed and said, "Charlie is a master of real high-end martial arts. Before we have seen his strength, we just sit and watch the sky, but after seeing his strength, if we don't have a chance to practice. His kind of high-end martial arts really feels that he has been practicing in vain for so many years." Nanako is also very sorry in her heart. Knowing that she was sitting in the well and watching the sky, what she wanted most was to jump out of this well, but Charlie didn't give her this opportunity. Yamamoto Kazuki saw her look down and hurriedly calmed down, "Nanako, it's not the time to consider this issue. You will win this game first, and we will discuss the rest." Nanako nodded heavily, and immediately said to Yamamoto Kazuki, "Master, then I will be on the stage." "Go." Yamamoto Kazuki encouraged, "This game must go all out, whether Charlie is willing to accept you as a disciple. You must let him see your strength, so in this game, you play as beautifully as possible." "Beautifully?" "Yes." Yamamoto Kazuki said firmly, "Nanako, the last time Aoxu defeated Joanna with a single move, she was very popular on the internet. I hope you will do your best when you play and give your opponent no chance. Control the enemy with one move." Nanako sighed, "Master, Michelle is the second seed. We have played against each other before. Although I have beaten her every time, I cannot avoid a fierce battle every time. It is difficult to defeat her with one move." Yamamoto Kazuki said, "If you can't control the enemy with one move, you have to do your best to defeat her in the first game. You want Charlie to see your strength and let him look at you with admiration. Even if it is impossible for him to accept you as a disciple in his life, you must let him know that your talent is far above Aoxu. Not accepting you as a disciple is his loss, not yours." Nanako immediately resolutely said, "Okay, Master." 1 minute later, the 4 players participating in the semi-finals are already waiting to play in their respective channels. Aoxu and Nanako coincided with the same mentality, they must do their best to win with one move, let Charlie look at them with admiration. After the host finished his opening remarks, he first announced, "First of all, let's invite our Chinese player, Aoxu." Aoxu took a deep breath and stepped out of the passage first. Subsequently, the host announced, "Next, I will invite Aoxu's opponent this time, the Australian player Victoria." As soon as the voice fell, a blonde Australian female player also walked out of the passage. The Australian player's expression was a bit nervous, and the overall momentum was much weaker than Aoxu. It can be seen that she should have no confidence in today's game. Then, the host called Nanako's name and her opponent, Michelle from the United States. Nanako and Michelle are both very calm, and their eyes are full of desire to win this game. Michelle was originally the second seed in this game, and her strength was not much weaker than Nanako. After watching Aoxu's last game, she also realized that she had no hope of competing for the championship this time, so she and Nanako's strategy is the same, all hope to win this game as much as possible and secure the silver medal for the runner-up. Even Michelle thought more realistically. She felt that as long as she wins the game, when she faces Aoxu in the final, she could directly abstain and admit defeat on the spot. Not only will this not affect her from getting the silver medal, but it will also not bring her any risk of injury. After all, Aoxu's strength in the last game was too strong, and Michelle was afraid that when she finally meet in the final, she would be injured under her hands. An athlete has to participate in many games a year, and losing one is actually not a pain, but if you are unable to participate in a year of competition due to injury, it is really not worth the gain. At this time, the 4 contestants respectively boarded 2 arenas. The 2 arenas are on the left and the other is on the right. Each arena is surrounded by the audience. Today, there were no empty seats, and the applause, whistles and applause before the game started, it was endless. Charlie stood under the ring behind Aoxu, which was also the position of the coach in the Sanda competition. The opponent's coach looked at her nervously at this time, and looked at Aoxu on the ring from time to time. The towel in his hand was always ready. Once his apprentice couldn't support herself on the stage, he would be the fastest to throw the towel in time and admit defeat. On the ring, Aoxu looked at her opponent Victoria with a grim expression. Before Charlie didn't help her improve her physique, she was not an opponent of Victoria. After all, this girl was tall, and her physical function was better than Aoxu before. But now, she has full confidence in defeating Victoria. She was just thinking about what method she should use to achieve a victory against Victoria. At the same time, in another ring, Nanako is also considering the same issue. Her eyes were not on the opponent Michelle, but on Charlie by the side of the other ring. Although Charlie was not watching her at this time, she firmly believed that if she performed well enough, Charlie would definitely see her. What is good enough? It seems that she has to defeat Michelle with one move, just like Master Wade said. At this moment, the referees on both sides of the ring announced the start of the game at the same time. Here, Aoxu observed at Victoria, ready to find the opponent's flaws. Victoria was quite jealous of Aoxu, so she would not dare to take the initiative to step forward for a while. She had been doing a defensive posture, watching Aoxu vigilantly. On the other hand, as soon as the game started, American player Michelle yelled and immediately attacked Nanako. For Michelle, she had long been eager to defeat Nanako, and she also knew that her strength was too far behind Aoxu, so she concentrated all her energy on Nanako. The American fighting mentality itself is very fierce, open, and close, and attack with all strength as soon as it comes up. Nanako can only retreat quickly and dodge the raindrops of the opponent's offensive. At this time, Nanako did not dare to fight back, because she has an obsession in her heart, and wants to defeat Michelle by one move for Charlie to see, so she must not blindly shoot, she must find the best time to solve the battle at once. Aoxu was already approaching Victoria at this time. While swinging her body to prepare for dodge, she kept shortening the distance with Victoria, and was also looking for the best time. But Victoria was quite wary of her and kept backing away, hoping to keep a safe distance. Just when Victoria was forced to the corner of the ring by Aoxu, Aoxu suddenly seized the opportunity and rushed towards Victoria like a rabbit. Victoria was nervous, with both hands in front of her, ready to resist Aoxu's first offensive in time. Aoxu strode quickly, and after her left leg stepped out, she suddenly took a step forward for more than half a meter, her body rotated in the air, and her right leg quickly drew towards Victoria. In the air, there was even Aoxu's voice breaking through the sky. Victoria's face was shocked. She had watched Aoxu's game against Joanna, and knew that Aoxu was extremely explosive, and with this kick, she was afraid that she would fly directly out of the ring like Joanna. As a result, she quickly withdrew her right leg one step. The left and right legs were in a triangle shape with the ground to strengthen the stability of her bottom plate, and then she blocked her arms in front of her, preparing to block Aoxu's blow with a deblocking action. But she was not Joanna, and she had no idea how strong Aoxu's kick was. She only felt that her arms were hit by a huge force, and then she heard two crisp cracks, and her two arms were kicked and broken. Accompanied by strong pain, she could no longer withstand the powerful force, and her whole body was like Joanna in the previous game, and she threw back into the air directly. A huge exclamation broke out at the scene. No one thought that Aoxio could be so strong. And Victoria's coach also looked terrified at this time. He quickly threw the towel into the air, and rushed to Victoria very nervous. After a while, Victoria was taken away from the scene by the doctor with a painful face, and Aoxio once again won and advanced to the final. A burst of cheers broke out at the scene, and it was an unprecedented breakthrough for Aoxio to enter the finals of the college Sanda competition. While celebrating the victory here, Nanako was beaten repeatedly by Michelle from the United States. She didn't make a move, so that she was hit by Michelle several times in the face, and the corners of her mouth and eyes were bruised and bloody with looks very miserable. While Michelle wondered why Nanako only resisted and didn't fight back, she also seized the opportunity to beat Nanako frantically. In her opinion, Nanako should be out of state, so she just took this opportunity to defeat her in one fell swoop. Nanako felt the severe pain coming from the injured part and tried to fight back several times, but she resisted the urge. She warned herself in her heart, "I can't act rashly. I want to win with one move. I must win with one move. I must make Charlie look at me with admiration. Michelle, you can attack with all your strength. I will not fight back. At least before I find your fatal flaw, I will never fight back. Because you are not my enemy at all in my eyes, you are just the transcript that I will use to prove myself to Charlie." Michelle doesn't know what Nanako is thinking, she just feels that she has finally found a chance to be a notch above this girl. She has been defeated by her many times before, and today, she's going to defeat her in the face of the whole world in a devastating way. Thinking of this, she immediately punched Nanako one after another. Every punch was extremely harsh. At this time, the referee on the other side of the ring had already announced Aoxio's victory. Aoxio rushed off the stage excitedly and hugged Charlie, happily with nothing to add. Charlie patted her on the back and smiled, "Don't be so happy now. You have a game to play in 2 days. Go take a shower and change your clothes." Aoxio nodded hurriedly, and said with admiration, "Coach Wade, you must wait for me, don't slip away while I am going to change clothes." Charlie nodded, "Okay, I'm waiting for you." Aoxio was relieved, and after bowing to the audience, she returned to the backstage rest area. Charlie only paid attention to the fight in the next ring. Looking from a distance, he was a little surprised. He didn't expect that Nanako would be hit by the American girl. She seemed very passive and could not fight back. Moreover, her beautiful face was bruised and bleeding because of repeated hits, especially the corner of her right eye seemed to be a little cracked, which was very disturbing. Charlie couldn't help but step to the edge of the ring and carefully observed Nanako. He found that although Nanako was injured, she was very passive in the situation, but her eyes were constantly watching the opponent's movements. He couldn't understand, since Nanako had been observing the opponent, why didn't she fight back? What is she waiting for? At this moment, Nanako also saw Charlie. She was a little surprised when she saw Charlie surprised. Because she actually saw a bit of distress in his eyes. She asked herself from the bottom of her heart, is the distress in Charlie's eyes because of me? Is he distressing for me? At the next moment, she thought a little bit self-deprecating, why would he feel sorry for me? In his eyes, I am just a Japanese girl sitting on a well and watching the sky, and my strength, in his eyes, is almost worthless like an ant. Not to mention, my master has humiliated him. Even if he hasn't offended him, he will certainly hate him. So, he can love Michelle across from her, it is absolutely impossible for him to love her. But the look in his eyes really hurts me. Could it be that he really loves me? It seems that there is only one way to know if he is feeling sorry for me. Thinking of this, Nanako deliberately left a gap for the opponent when resisting the attack. Boom! Michelle seized the opportunity and hit Nanako's right cheek with a punch, and immediately hit her cheek black and purple, even bleeding. When Nanako was resisting this punch, her eyes kept looking at Charlie. She found that at the moment when she was hit by Michelle, the distress on Charlie's face became more obvious. Although her face was painful, she couldn't help but jump for joy for some reason. He really cares about me. Thinking of this, the happy little woman smiled. Charlie was very excited about his disciple's success just now. When he saw this scene, he could not help but frown, and wondered in his heart, what is going on with this Nanako? If she is not in a good state just now, then why she is being absent? Isn't this a lunacy? Just between the sparks and flints, he was wondering, Nanako, who was so happy in her heart, suddenly discovered that Michelle's figure was stuttered. At this moment, she suddenly realized that the opportunity she had been waiting for has come. Moreover, Charlie is looking at her here, and he is looking at him with distressed eyes here. She must seize this opportunity to defeat Michelle. Not only should Charlie be shocked. Let Charlie applaud for her. When Nanako thought about this, her powerful thoughts supported her, holding back her pain, and bursting out a powerful explosive force in an instant. Immediately afterwards, he saw Nanako suddenly jumped on the spot and turned around. Her body turned 270 degrees, her slender right leg was already raised high, and her foot was drawn across Michelle's face. Michelle was surprised by Nanako's abnormal performance today. She did not expect that she could suddenly attack her in an instant. Moreover, Michelle couldn't imagine that, because of Charlie's sake at this time, the whole person was stimulated with great potential. Nanako's strength in this blow has far surpassed her usual peak state. Michelle came back to her senses, and when she was rushing to resist, the window of time Nanako left for her has passed. She only felt that a black shadow was carrying a strong force and struck straight towards her profile. She was shocked and was about to dodge, feeling that the strong force had hit her suddenly. Boom! She felt that her brain was cut off by this kick, and her mind was stunned, and her whole person instantly lost consciousness and fell straight down. The scene was shocked. No one thought that Nanako was in extreme passiveness just now, and she was almost beaten by Michelle. How could she suddenly explode with such a powerful lethality and knocked Michelle out with one kick? After a moment of silence, thunderous applause broke out on the scene. Today's game is really amazing for them. 2 arenas, 2 games, the winners turned out to be getting it with one move to control the enemy. Needless to say, Aoxyo kicked off her opponent's arms with a single kick, as sharp as a typhoon. As for Nanako, even though she has been pressed and beaten by the opponent, she has never made a move. As expected, it is deadly if she does not make a move. just sees an opportunity for the opponent to lose her mind, and immediately defeat her, simply and neatly. Charlie could not help but secretly start to see this scene in the audience. He thought that Nanako was controlled by others everywhere, but he didn't expect that after receiving so many fists, this girl would be able to seize the opportunity, reverse all disadvantages in one fell swoop, and win with one move. This forbearance and courage is indeed admirable. At this time, the referee stepped forward to check Michelle's situation. After finding that she was unconscious, he immediately called the doctor of the event team. After the doctor came to check, she was indeed unconscious and needed to be sent to the hospital for treatment. Several staff members directly put the unconscious Michelle on a stretcher and rushed her to the hospital. Nanako on the ring, looking through the excited and cheering crowd, her sight fell straight on Charlie's face. Seeing his face shocked, she was very excited. "Charlie! After all, I achieved the goal of winning with one move. Did I make you admire me?" Charlie met her eyes at this moment, and was a little surprised at the perseverance in the Japanese girl's eyes and the trace of persistence in her expression. After a while, he gave her a thumbs up from a long distance away. After a few seconds, he spread out his thumb gesturing hand, waved at Nanako, and then turned and left. Seeing Charlie's back, Nanako was shocked. But recalling the thumb that Charlie had just gestured to her, she felt a sweet feeling in her heart. The referee took the microphone and said, "Now I announce that the winner of this game is the Japanese player, Nanako." Today's game was really exciting. No one wanted to end it. The two winners from both sides of the ring turned out to be directly qualified for the finals by winning with one move. Among them, Ms. Aoxu of China, after defeating Joanna of Brazil in the last match, once again performed the shocking show of winning by one blow. The reality is breathtaking. In addition, Ms. Aoxu will also compete with Ms. Nanako in the finals the day after tomorrow. The losers of the two games, Ms. Victoria of Australia and Ms. Michelle of the United States, will compete for the third place, so stay tuned. The audience was extremely excited. Unexpectedly, the Chinese player was able to reach the finals all the way, and she performed impeccably in both games. She was simply the biggest dark horses in this game. What's interesting is that the two female players who advanced to the final are both Asian players, and they are both very beautiful and exquisite beauties. Needless to say, Aoxu's hot-toned figure is simply superb in the eyes of men. And Nanako is as gentle as water and extremely soft, which forms a great contrast with her strength, and is the object of all men's fascination. These two top beauties compete for the championship, and the championship game will be very beautiful. In the audience, Jiro was so excited. He never dreamed that the two games would end so beautifully. There is no doubt that this top 4 competition has pushed the heat of this game to a new peak. Then Kobayashi's Bison will soar into the sky with it. When Charlie walked out of the gymnasium, Aoxu also changed into plain clothes and walked out with her father and younger brother. When she saw Charlie, she was excited to come forward and talk to him, when she suddenly discovered that a large number of reporters had emerged around her, surrounding her to a point. Aoxu is now the most concerned object in Oris Hill. Of course, the reporters can't wait to interview her in depth. Aoxu was besieged by the reporters, and suddenly became a little anxious, so she was a little absent-minded to ask the reporters questions. At this moment, Charlie saw this scene and sent her a WeChat message and said to her, "Aoxu, please accept the interview with the TV station. This is good for you in the future. I have something to do first, so I will leave." Aoxu saw this WeChat and looked out of the crowd with her feet in her arms. She saw that Charlie had already gone far, and she couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. But when she thought of what he had just told her on WeChat, she obediently put away her mind and patiently answered the reporter's question. At this moment, Charlie had just arrived in the parking lot and saw Isaac's Rolls-Royce, parked in front of his old man's BMW. Seeing Charlie coming, Isaac hurriedly got out of the car and said respectfully to Charlie, "Master, I have brought the cosmetics you want. It is in the trunk. Open your trunk and I will put it directly for you." "Well, you can help me put it in the car," Charlie said, took out the BMW car key and opened the trunk directly. Isaac also hurriedly opened the trunk of the Rolls-Royce and took out 3 huge and luxurious gift boxes from it. This gift box is very valuable at first glance. Even the luxury brand Hermes, which starts at hundreds of thousands, may not be comparable in packaging with it. The size of each gift box is comparable to a business suitcase, and the whole is in black and gold tones, which is luxurious and low-key and calm. Charlie couldn't help being curious, "Why is this box so big?" Isaac hurriedly explained, "Master, the gift set I chose is the most complete and most expensive one in the range. The price is 388,888. It contains all their products, and their most classic face creams and eye creams are all in the largest quantity." Charlie nodded, "Thanks for your hard work." Isaac hurriedly said, "Master, this should be all." Charlie gave a hum and said, "By the way, Mr. Isaac, I am going to East Cliff next week. Oris Hill will be left to you and Mr. Orville, especially my wife. You must send someone for secret protection. The Wu family is still lingering, I guess they are still unwilling to give up." Isaac exclaimed, "Master, are you going to East Cliff? Are you going back to Wade's house?" Charlie shook his head, "I have no plans to go back to family now." Isaac asked in amazement, "Master, please forgive me to speak up. Why are you going to East Cliff this time? If you don't return to Wade's house, then you must be careful of Delon from the Kevin family. I heard that after the operation, he is resting in bed at home for half a month. He hates you for getting into the bone." "Hate me to my bones?" Charlie sneered, "A young master from the Kevin family dared to bark in front of me. I have my own serious business to do when I go to East Cliff. If he doesn't have eyesight, he dares to come. If he messes with me, then I won't make him feel better." Isaac asked again, "Master, should I inform the families so that they can receive you there, which can also provide you with some convenience?" "No need," Charlie said, "I don't want the Wade family to know this time, so you have to keep it secret for me." "Okay, young master." Charlie nodded and said, "Old man, I want to ask you one thing." Isaac hurriedly said, "Master, please do not hesitate to ask." Charlie asked, "Do you know what happened to my parents, how the death happened back then?" Isaac said embarrassingly, "Master, when your parents passed away, I hadn't worked in the Wade family. I was studying at the time. After graduation, I applied for a company under the Wade family, and then I was gradually promoted to the spokesperson in Oris Hill. The matter of your parents was absolutely forbidden to discuss in the Wade family at that time. People who were older than me were silent about it at the time, so I did not follow up on the details. Charlie frowned and nodded lightly. From this point of view, there must be hidden secrets about what happened to the parents back then, but this may be highly confidential in the Wade family, and as Isaac's identity, it is still difficult to touch. So he didn't ask any more questions, just told him, Mr. Isaac, just remember our conversation just now, remember not to talk to anyone, if the Wade family asks about it, absolutely you can't disclose it. Isaac looked terrified and blurted out, Master, don't worry. I will never reveal a half-word to the outside world. If this matter was placed before Charlie slew the 8 heavenly kings at the foot of Chenbai mountain, then Isaac would naturally prefer the Wade family in his heart. Charlie was just a young master living in the Wade family, and the Wade family talent was his master. But when he saw Charlie's powerful supernatural powers at the foot of Chenbai mountain, he made up his mind in his heart and bowed his head to worship Charlie in this life. In other words, in the eyes of Isaac now, he has only one master, and that is none other than Charlie. If Charlie asked him to draw swords against the Wade family, he would follow suit without hesitation. Farewell to Isaac, Charlie drove away from Oris Hill Stadium alone. Instead of going home immediately, he called his old father-in-law and asked him, Dad, where are you? Jacob grinned and said, Good son-in-law, I am a senior at university. Our lecture was very successful. Now everyone is eagerly discussing it. You know, the atmosphere is really great. Charlie nodded and smiled, and asked him, Is Aunt here? Of course. Jacob smiled and whispered, Your aunt is sitting next to me, and I'm teaching her how to feel Yan Zhenqing's writing. Yes, Dad. Charlie said with a smile, Have you studied Yan Zhenqing? Of course. Jacob said cheerfully, I didn't only study Yan Zhenqing. I have researched many other. Charlie smiled and said, Okay, I have to learn more from you another day. Then he said, By the way, Dad, I have already got the skincare products you want, I will send them to you now and take them home. If Mom finds out that there is an extra set, it will be difficult to handle. The reason why Charlie asked Isaac to prepare 3 skincare products was because he felt that in addition to rewarding Elaine, he naturally had to prepare a set for his wife Claire, and Jacob also wanted to give a set to Miking. However, if he took all these 3 sets home, in case Elaine sees that in addition to Claire's set, she would definitely find a way to take possession of the remaining 2 sets. Therefore, first take out the set that the old father-in-law is going to give to Miking, so as not to have many dreams at night. Just now the old master is with Miking, this opportunity couldn't be better. When Jacob heard this, he immediately said excitedly, Oh my dear son-in-law, you are really capable. I just said this in the morning, and you can get it done so quickly. The efficiency is really amazing. Charlie smiled indifferently, It's just a small matter, it's nothing, you wait for a while, and I will pass. Jacob hurriedly said, Then you will call me at the gate of the university, and I will come down. Okay. 10 minutes later, Charlie came to the gate of Oris Hill University for the aged. Pulling the car over and parked it steadily, he called Jacob. Soon, Jacob ran out, leaned to the window and asked with a smile, "Good son-in-law, where are the skincare products?" Charlie got out of the car, opened the trunk, took out a gift box from it and handed it to him. "Dad, this is it, you can take it." Jacob took the gift box and exclaimed, "Oh, so big and heavy? How many things are there?" Charlie said, "There are probably more than a dozen products, all of which are in the same series and have everything." Jacob nodded, "If the portion is so large, selling for hundreds of thousands is not too expensive." Charlie smiled and said, "This is not more than 100,000, this is the most expensive suit in this brand, the price is 388,000. Holy!" Jacob's eyes were about to fall on the ground. Just such a gift box, nearly 400,000? This sum of money is enough to buy a BMW, and it is a 5 Series BMW. Buying an Audi A6 is enough. Charlie nodded, "It's really enough." Jacob smacked his lips and said, "Oh, such expensive cosmetics, Elaine stinky lady is not worthy of use." "Hey, I say my son-in-law, why don't you take this set and give her a set of more than 100,000? It can save you 200,000. After a pause, Jacob persuaded, "These 200,000, just use it for anything, not better than spending it on Elaine? Let's buy a few antique calligraphy and paintings to hang at home, which can set off our home in a compelling style of the scholarly family which I can continue to appreciate. Isn't it good?" Charlie said jokingly, "Well, it's better to return this set and spend thousands to buy a set of high imitations, which can save 38,000. As soon as Jacob heard this, he slapped his thigh suddenly, and blurted out, "Good son-in-law, this is a good way. Take this set back, give her a fake, I'm sorry for her." Charlie knew that Jacob was dissatisfied with Elaine's loss of 11 million. These dissatisfactions have been accumulated over the years in the married life. Especially after Miking returned to China, the old master saw that Miking was stronger than Elaine, and his dissatisfaction became even stronger. He even wanted to divorce his mother-in-law Elaine, but Elaine didn't give him this chance, so he naturally didn't like Elaine now. However, he was so careful that, in Charlie's view, he really couldn't make it to the stage. It's just a set of cosmetics, and it would be too embarrassing to get a fake set of fools on Elaine. It doesn't matter if Elaine found out. If Claire, his wife, knew that he got fake skincare products for her mother, then she would definitely feel a little bit dissatisfied. So he said to Jacob, "Dad, don't worry about this, and quickly send this product to Aunt." Jacob nodded and said, "By the way, Charlie, I won't go back for dinner at night, and I happen to have dinner with the senior college." Charlie replied, "Okay, then I will go back first." Afterwards, Charlie drove back to Thompson's alone. As soon as he drove the car into the yard, he saw his wife Claire's car had been parked at home. It seems that she has already finished work. Charlie parked the car and walked into the house with 2 sets of skincare products. Elaine was sitting cross-legged on the sofa in the living room watching TV. Claire had just washed some strawberries picked from vegetable garden and brought them out of the kitchen. Seeing Charlie, Claire asked him, "My husband, where did you go? You went out early in the morning and came back so late." Charlie raised the 2 gift boxes in his hand, and said with a smile, "Didn't I go to get skincare products for you and Mom? I also showed them feng shui by the way. In fact, Charlie didn't want to lie and deceive Claire. It's just that there are too many secrets hidden in him, and he can't tell her for the time being. Therefore, he must have a reasonable reason to explain the origin of these two sets of cosmetics. Now that he's in front of his family, he has to set up himself as a person who can show others feng shui, so simply set this person to the end. Seeing that he had come back with 2 sets of caviar skincare products, Claire blurted out and exclaimed, "Did you really go to show others feng shui for cosmetics?" Charlie smiled slightly, "I don't want to exchange 2 sets, prepare one for you and Mom, and let you use this top skincare product." Claire was about to speak, Elaine jumped up from the sofa with excitement, ignoring wearing slippers, ran over barefoot and limping, and said with excitement, "Oh, my good son-in-law! Did you really get that caviar skincare product for Mom?" Charlie nodded, and handed her one of the gift boxes. Elaine took the gift box over, without saying anything, just sat on the ground, and opened it excitedly. After opening it, seeing the huge gift box filled with all kinds of cosmetics, she became ecstatic and said, "So many things! This will be the most expensive in their company. That luxurious suit, right?" Charlie nodded and smiled, "Mom is quite eye-sighted, this is indeed their most expensive suit." Elaine's eyes flashed with excitement, and even a little trembling said, "Oh God! This is really the top platinum suit. God! This set costs nearly 400,000, right?" Claire on the side was dumbfounded and asked, 400,000? Why is this thing so expensive?" Elaine immediately said, "You don't understand. The most basic suit of this brand costs more than 100,000, and the most expensive is this platinum suit. No, I have to take a picture for the circle of friends to show off." After speaking, she immediately jumped back to the sofa with one foot and took out her mobile phone. Claire pulled Charlie aside and said with some complaints, "Mom just said casually in the morning, why did you really buy her such expensive skincare products, a set of 400,000, which is too scary. Now, why are we such a family?" Charlie smiled and said, "Isn't there a special channel? You don't need to care too much." Claire whispered, "I'm afraid that Mother will look for this in the future. If she keeps asking you to buy her such expensive skincare products, what can you do?" Charlie smiled slightly, "No, haven't you noticed that your mother has converged too much now? Just consider it as a reward for her converging during this period of time, so that she can converge even more in the future." Just as he was talking, Elaine had already used her mobile phone to take a small video of moments, and said excitedly, "Look at the 2 sets of caviar skincare products my good son-in-law bought me. They are all platinum suits, the 2 sets add up to at least more than 700,000. When Charlie heard this, he immediately said, "Mom, these 2 sets are not for you, you and Claire have the same." "Ah?" Elaine said distractedly, "How young is she at first? She is naturally beautiful, and I can't find a wrinkle on her face. Why does she need to use this anti-aging skincare product now? Moisturizing is actually enough." Charlie immediately resolutely said, "No, it is originally the 2 of you each with 1 set, you can't take the Claire set as well." Elaine still feels 10,000 times reluctant, but now she dare not yell at Charlie. "Stop clamoring, Even if she talks back, she dare not. So she can only nod angrily. Well, Mom listens to you, and Claire and I have one set of these 2 sets of skincare products. Claire said, I can't bear to use such expensive things. Elaine's eyes lit up, and she was about to say you are reluctant to use it. Charlie took the words and said, my wife, if you are reluctant to use it, then I will withdraw both sets. Hey, don't! Elaine panicked, and said hurriedly, Claire, this is Charlie's intention. You are not allowed to be a donkey liver and lungs. Claire wanted to say something. Charlie picked up a set, handed it to her, and said seriously, if your husband gave you something, you can use it with confidence. When it's used up, your husband will buy it for you again. Claire felt Charlie's deep love for her, and she felt sweet in her heart, and finally nodded and agreed. Seeing this, Elaine said excitedly, I have to go back to the room to wash my face, and then use it first, I can't wait to feel it. After speaking, she took the cosmetics and took the elevator to the 3rd floor. Claire looked at her back and sighed helplessly. It seems that my mother's vanity-loving character cannot be changed in this life. However, the current mother is not without improvement, at least she treats Charlie better than before, and at home is not as aggressive and taunting as before, and the home environment is therefore much more stable. At this moment, her mobile phone suddenly received a call, and it turned out to be her mother Elaine. Hey Mom, what's the matter? Elaine said anxiously, Claire, come to my room. Come by yourself, don't let Charlie follow. What's the matter, Mom? Say it when you come. Claire had no choice but to say to Charlie, Mom is asking me over. Charlie didn't think too much, and nodded gently. She took the elevator to the 3rd floor and came to Elaine's room. As soon as she reached the door, she was pulled in by Elaine. Then she immediately locked the door and said nervously, Good girl. I doubt it. Charlie cheated. Ah? Derailed? Claire frowned. Why? Why? Elaine immediately took out a shopping receipt and blurted out, Look at this. This receipt shows that Charlie bought 3 copies of the same platinum suit, so why did he only get 2 back? More, what about the one that came out? It must be given to a vison outside. Claire instinctively didn't believe what her mother said. She felt that Charlie was sincere to her. How could he be derailed? So she seriously said to Elaine, Mom, you think too much. Charlie can't be cheating. Impossible? Elaine raised her eyebrows, and asked, Then tell me why Charlie bought 3 sets of skincare products? And only 1 set was brought back. Where did it go? Claire said, Maybe it was bought for a friend. Friends? Elaine said with a look of hatred as strong as iron and steel, It's just that a brainless person like you will believe it. This kind of thing is obviously bought for a woman. You said he is an orphan and doesn't have a mother. No relatives, except for the vison, who else would he buy it for? Claire's expression was also a little unnatural. She knew that what her mother said was not without reason. Charlie really has no relatives and no female friends in the local area, so who did he buy the extra set of skincare products for? Could it be Warnya, the daughter of the Song family? In the impression, that woman seemed to be a little different to her husband. However, Claire couldn't believe that Warnia was the eldest of the Song family after all, and she had just become the head of the Song family not long ago. Her status is extremely honorable. In Oris Hill, or even in the whole province, I'm afraid she can't find any stronger woman than her. And her husband is a married man, so from a common sense, a woman like Warnia will most likely not have a special relationship with her husband. However, the receipt in her mother's hand clearly shows that this order does include 3 sets of skincare products, and who is the other set for? Just when Claire was lost in thought, Elaine hurriedly asked her in a low voice, "Girl, tell your mom, where are you now with Charlie?" Claire subconsciously asked, "Where?" Elaine hurriedly said, "It's those things between men and women. Mom won't go around with you. Did you give Charlie your B0DY?" Claire's face turned red in an instant, and she said falteringly, "Not yet." Elaine suddenly exploded, "Ah! Not yet? Are you stupid? Until now, you are still holding on to him. What are you waiting for?" Claire lowered her head and said embarrassedly, "Don't know, I just think the situation between us is very delicate. At the beginning, we got married at the request of Grandpa, so I never went there." Elaine immediately said seriously, "Girl, you are stupid. A man has needs, you can't always satisfy him, then what if he turns his head to find someone else? Charlie is also worth over 100 million. Man, don't know how many coquettish peaches are lining up to come next to him." Speaking of this, Elaine said hurriedly, "Listen to your mother's advice, hurry up and find a chance to take Charlie down. It is best to conceive a child as soon as possible, otherwise one day Charlie lets the fox go away. At that point our family is over. Also, don't forget, this villa belongs to Charlie. If he changes his mind and wants to divorce you, wouldn't he want to drive us out? I tell you, I don't want to go back to death. The old house in the past, this Thompson first-class villa, I will never leave." Claire is even more embarrassed. It is not that she has not considered this issue, but because of her personality, she has always been a little scared and shy, so she has never taken the initiative. However, now listening to what Mom said, she couldn't help but feel a little nervous. Elaine sighed and sighed, "Hey, I used to look down on Charlie in various ways. I always thought he was a rubbish. But now, if you look at it, this guy is still a little capable. Look at how many big people he make fool of. This is an ability. Look at this large villa of more than 100 million. It is refreshing and awesome to live in. If he increases his ability in the future, he may be able to fool a Maldivian island." This Claire said awkwardly, "Mom, don't you daydream all day long?" Elaine said solemnly, "Dreams still have to be there. Because it might happen suddenly one day." As she said, she hurriedly said in a low voice, "You, hurry up and tell Charlie the truth about the husband and wife, and also have to find a chance to ask, who is the person the skincare product he bought for. You must not take it lightly. If Charlie really has the idea of cheating, it must be killed in advance. If he has cheated, he must be brought back first." Although Claire was a little nervous in her heart, she still said very seriously, "Mom, don't make any guesses here. I believe Charlie's personality will not be what you think. Hey, kid, it's always good to be cautious. Claire faltered and said, "Oh, I won't tell you any more, I will go down first." Elaine hurriedly grabbed her, stuffed the shopping receipt into her hand, and said, "Hold the evidence, and you must ask Charlie when there is an opportunity." Holding the small ticket, Claire turned and ran out. Charlie was sitting on the sofa on the first floor, watching TV. On TV, there are overwhelming reports of Sanda matches. The Dark Horse Aoxu naturally attracted countless attention and made Chinese audiences feel extremely proud. But the performance of Japanese player Nanako also won the audience's admiration and applause. At this time, the TV announcer said, "It is reported that Nanako is not only an outstanding young fighter in Japan, but also a top student of the University of Tokyo. Her family, the Ito family, is one of the top 4 families in Japan. 1. It can be said to be a super charming, rich, and beautiful born with a golden key, but who can think of such a super charming, rich, and beautiful, not living a luxurious life, but becoming a strong and hard-working fighter?" Charlie couldn't help but sigh secretly when he heard this. He really did not expect that Nanako would still be the eldest lady of Japan's top family. At this time, through the high-definition close-up shot taken by the camera, Charlie saw the scene of Nanako being repeatedly attacked by American player Michelle, and saw her delicate and cold face being injured by Michelle, but her eyes were extremely firm. He couldn't help but feel a touch in his heart. "I have to say that Nanako's character is really appreciated by him. Strong, but not awkward, with a tough personality, and knows how to forbear and dormant." At a certain moment, he even felt that Nanako was somewhat similar to himself. This made him sigh from the bottom of his heart that if such a good girl is not of a foreign nationality, he was really willing to accept her as a disciple and let her go further in the martial arts. It's a pity that the nationality and blood of Nanako are here. Charlie firmly believes in the words of the ancestors, "If you are not of my race, your heart must be different." When Charlie was watching TV, Claire stepped up to him. Seeing him watching TV, she sat down beside him. Afterwards, she hesitated for a moment, and asked him in a low voice, "Charlie, I ask you one thing, you must answer me truthfully and don't lie to me." Charlie nodded. "My wife, please ask." Claire passed the shopping receipt in her hand to Charlie and asked, "Why are there 3 sets of skincare products written on it?" "It's not that I don't trust you, but I just hope you can explain the situation to me." Charlie was stunned when he saw the shopping receipt, but quickly realized that it must have been placed directly in the gift box after Isaac bought the products. So he looked around and saw that Elaine hadn't come. He whispered, "I'll tell you the truth, my wife, that set of cosmetics is actually what Dad wanted." "My dad?" Claire asked dumbfounded. "My dad is an old man, why does he want this top-notch skincare product?" Charlie smiled awkwardly, and said, "I shouldn't have told you, but after all, you are my wife, and I certainly can't lie to you, but you have to promise me that if I tell you, you must never go to Dad to confront him." Claire gave him a white look. "If you don't let me go to confront my dad, what if you want to lie to me? What if you let Dad be your backer?" Charlie said hurriedly, "Do you think that your husband is that kind of person? I have always done things with the courage to do things, how can I let Dad take care of me?" Claire nodded. "Okay, then I promise you, you can tell, what is going on." Charlie explained, in the morning, Mom said she wanted this brand of skincare products, and I agreed at the time. Then when I drove away with Dad, he asked me if I could do more, saying that he want to give it to Aunt Miking. Aunt Miking! Claire exclaimed, that his first love, Miking? Right. Charlie smiled, apart from that, who else is Aunt Miking? Claire said angrily, is my dad still in touch with her? Mom was missing at the time. I didn't say anything when he met Aunt for dinner. Mom is back. How can they both? Where is the lotus root broken? Charlie said, for this kind of thing, the best thing for us to be children is to leave it alone, after all, parents are separated now. Hey, Claire sighed, even if you are separated, you still haven't got a divorce. If you don't have a divorce, you must be loyal in your relationship. Charlie shrugged, you don't know the situation of Mom and Dad. The relationship between them is different from that of ordinary couples, so. Claire believed that Charlie was not deceiving her, and she felt helpless, and said, if Dad asks you for something and gives it to Aunt, you must not agree to it, and we will treat him or not. We definitely cannot help the abuser. Charlie immediately agreed, okay wife, I know. Don't worry. At this moment, Oris Hill People's Hospital. When Nanako was visiting Mr. Kazuki Yamamoto, he heard the news that in today's match, Australian athlete Victoria, who was defeated by Aoxu, was also receiving treatment at Oris Hill People's Hospital. Koichi Tanaka specifically went to inquire about it and told her a result that shocked her. It turned out that in the game, Victoria was kicked by Aoxu and broke the arms of both hands. Now she is put in a plaster and officially announced that she will withdraw from the third-place competition the day after tomorrow. She handed over the third-place title of this game to Nanako's team. Michelle defeated. Moreover, Victoria not only withdrew from this competition, and there is a great probability of complete retirement. Because for a Sanda athlete, the arms are very important. After the arms are broken, it is difficult to recover even if they recover. For a professional athlete, the impact may be lifelong. It is very likely that she will ruin her career. Nanako was stunned by the news. She knew about Victoria, injured both arms in the game, but she didn't know that Victoria was injured so badly. Victoria is also a top-level Sanda player, but Aoxu kicked her arms off, which proves that Aoxu's physical strength and stamina are far beyond what normal people can match. Although Nanako is stronger than Victoria, she is strong in skills and experience, but her physical fitness is even slightly worse than that of the tall Victoria. Even Victoria couldn't resist Aoxu's blow, so when she faced her the day after tomorrow, she is afraid it would be very dangerous. After listening to this, Yamamoto Kazuki couldn't help but sighed and said, Nanako, according to my opinion, you should abstain from the game the day after tomorrow. Nanako asked in surprise, Master, what do you mean? Why do you want me to abstain at this time? Didn't you say that the real strong will never surrender without a fight? Yamamoto Kazuki sighed, that's just a normal situation. But now you have also seen that Aoxu is extremely strong. If you fight against her, you are most likely to be seriously injured. Then, you won't just lose a game. In the game, you lose your entire career. Nanako pursed her mouth and murmured, but if I retreat without a fight this time, what face will I have to continue practicing martial arts in the future? Isn't there an old saying that I know that there are tigers in the mountains, and so I go to the mountains? Yamamoto Kazuki eagerly said, there is an old saying. It is called staying in the Green Mountains. I am not afraid that there is no firewood. If you are really seriously injured, your future career may be abandoned. Nanako resolutely said, Master, I finally made Charlie look at me with great difficulty today. If I give up the game, he will despise me, so I will not escape. On the contrary, I must try my best in the finals. If I go forward, even if I must lose, I will lose with dignity. Yamamoto Kazuki sighed heavily, hey. If Charlie is willing to accept you as a disciple, everything is easy to say, but his current attitude is that he is unwilling to accept you. Even if you show up in front of him, okay, so what? In his eyes, you are a foreigner, an alien. It doesn't matter. Nanako smiled slightly and said softly, it doesn't matter whether he accepts me as a disciple, I just don't want to be looked down upon by him. Yamamoto Kazuki understands Nanako and knows that her current attitude is very determined, and she can't change her decision. So he looked at Koichi Tanaka next to her and said, Tanaka, on the court at that time, if Miss Ito is injured, you must throw a towel to the referee in time, understand? Hiroshi Tanaka was about to nod, and Nanako scolded with a cold face, Tanaka, you must not lose your towel at that time. In this game, I can accept any defeat, but I just don't accept the initiative to give up. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.